Imagine being a child who has been torn away from their security blanket, their parents, the ones who stop the boogeyman from terrorizing the nights and curing their boo-boos when they scrape their knees. Now just imagine how they must feel when the CPS meant to protect them tears them away from their supposed abusers and places them with strangers who have zero comforting skills. They need to be calm. They are confused, lost, panicked, and needing their parents, but CPS took them away for the purpose of saving them. The kids don't even know why, and they are told that the parents they attach to no longer want them. What do you think that does? Do you think that this is how protecting children is supposed to look? Abolish CPS.
I'm, just your average parent trying to do right by my kids. Never thought I'd have to, deal with something like this. It was a regular Tuesday afternoon. The kids' toys were scattered everywhere. Then there was a knock at the door. My heart sank when I saw who it was.
Hello, I'm from Child Protective Services. We've received a report and need to inspect your home.
I didn't know what to do. They wanted to come in, look around, talk to my kids. My hands were shaking. I felt like I was doing something wrong even though I knew I wasn't. But then, I remembered something I'd read online about knowing your rights. I took a deep breath and said, "I'm sorry, but unless you have a warrant, I can't let you in." The CPS worker looked surprised. They weren't used to parents knowing their rights. It wasn't easy, but I stood my ground. I protected my family's privacy that day. Remember, when CPS knocks, know your rights. It can make all the difference.
You already know do this as low as tonight. We gotta live it up on this dirt one time, buddy sister. Shove it down their throats. Well, they call it Tiff in the function. You can say that they're a little pissed. They're getting a little sick of this, running into court, swinging that fist. They They are taking our kids every day. I try them in and no one has a thing to say. For those who have been isolated, don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallet. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeves. You can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You no longer will steal our kids this way. Tiff and the Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken, god damn it. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher is screaming out loud, abolish CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids' pictures held up like thin tags. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with high speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather flock together. So watch out CPS, here we come. Picking you one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the caseworkers unhandily. Give us back the kids you have taken. Tiff and the Punisher sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows and the only games you play are on Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher warrior, and we cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children are being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping. Stop it.
Whoa, whoa. Let's shove it down their throats, Tiff.
We need to do something.
That's what the song says to do.
I know.
That'll get your fire burning.
Yeah, it
Or
will.
scare people away. One or the other.
Sorry
Let's go
we're
with
so
it.
late. It was my fault.
How are we late when it's a surprise Friday?
Okay,
How are
well,
we
that's
late?
true.
It's
That's true.
a surprise. It keeps you on your toes, you know? It could have been 6 o'clock tonight.
True.
Yeah. Or like Mary says, we might have not even come on.
Well, that's true too.
Oh, there we go. Everybody's going to call now because no one can call all damn day, but they're going to call when we get on the show. I swear to God, because every one of these people that call me get notifications that say that we're on.
Right.
And you know what? Make sure you guys check out cpsbreakingnews.com. Yep. We're gonna do the big X button, and I'm gonna do the do not disturb thing now. You're gonna force me to do not disturb everybody because nobody can be responsible with the calling of Darren.
Um,
I'll tell you.
why is the music on?
Yeah, music's always on. Jeff.
Oh, well, I
It's a
must only
separate
hear
test.
it. I only must only hear it in my headset. So there's 33% of everybody that watches us.
What?
Please subscribe to our channel. And share these videos because it does help our algorithm, and we need to get this stuff out. I know that other people are doing it too, but
Not the way we're doing it.
right.
And it's good that other people are doing it too, but you need to spread this word because we're the only ones that are teaching people what they need to be doing to prevent this stuff.
That's true. So, please like, share, and subscribe for the 33% of you that are watching that aren't subscribing.
Yeah, become a subscriber.
So it's Friday.
Free Friday.
Yeah. What are you doing this weekend?
Working on all the stuff that I work on. I don't need this little room. This little room that I'm in, my little studio room, is where I.
Well, too bad you weren't down here because our whole block is having a party. It's because we're all the parents are celebrating. Yes.
Yeah, they all think it's a congratulations, you made it through the summer.
Yeah.
You have a clown coming or anything?
No, but like we all filled up our little inflatable pools. We all got our grills out. We
Yeah,
all
you just stay away
mowed.
from the pools. You don't need to get stuck in the pool in front of the whole neighborhood.
I'm not getting in the pool.
I'm not getting in the pool. All right, K-Can, Classic Mommy, Debbie Anderson's cruising down the road. Debbie, keep your eyes on the road. You know what I want to do from now on when I come in? You know how I put you on and you wave? I want to come in and I want to take my shirt down from here on the hanger like Mr. Rogers. And I'm going to take my shirt off and then I'm going to put this one on. Like on Mr. Rogers.
Oh my God. Oh my
God. Did you ever see this thing? Do you know that I wear this one?
I do know that you wear it.
Yeah.
I never saw the back though.
Yeah, well, that's because if you're not the lead dog, the scenery never changes. So, yeah. So, to step off on a bad foot, how about the story that you sent me this morning?
It's terrible.
What is going on? These people.
I don't know. Like last night when we were on, I told you about the aunt that beat these two, a 5 and a 7-year-old, to death, put them in the trunk, got pulled over for speeding. The cops were suspicious, so they made her take the stuff out of the trunk. And I mean, I'm going to tell you, she played it cool, okay? I mean, I really thought that there was nothing going on. All of a sudden, they pulled this blanket back, and all you hear them say is, "Oh, fuck, these are the cops." And the girls are running, and they chase them down.
Yeah, that video is crazy.
It is crazy, right? And then she's still playing it off like she doesn't know what it is. And now, and I told my husband, I said, you know, I'm not a fan of the police, but I can only imagine seeing that terrifying and horrifying thing. And he was like, well, let's act like they're not the police and just look at the human side of it.
Because, yeah, well, that's the thing that they talked about in that video. They're like, I can't ever unsee that. Because here's the thing, guys. The thing is that the woman had taken, she was a kin or whatever. She had it was her sister's kids, right?
Yes.
These children had been non-living for a year. And she had them wrapped in blankets in the back of her car.
With maggots on them.
The cop knew when he walked up. They said the car stunk so damn bad. Can you imagine getting in your friend's car? I mean, listen, I cleaned up dead bodies for many years. That's what I did. I was a crime and death scene cleaner. And death has a certain smell to it. Every job you win, and I say that it smells like money. But to others, I would say it's the smell of pungent cheese. It's the worst pungent cheese smell, and it smells the same every place that you go. When there's decomposition in there of a human, it smells like just the raunchiest cheese. Um, and So when you're in that business, when you walk into a place. I was in a building one time, and they had hired me to come in and clean the hallway carpets. And they said that they think that the dogs are pooping in the hallway or something like that. And as soon as you open the building, you're like, whoo! And I said, that's the smell of money right there. And, because it's smell something dead. So these cops knew when they walked up to that car, because nothing else smells like decomposition. Like it's, I guess, the most within the pungent cheese smell. But, so they knew right away when they smelled that. And that's why they're giving them such a piece. But can you imagine a year in that freaking car? A year.
My husband said this chick was driving around, going into hotels, eating McDonald's in the car with
Yeah.
these. And then where I left to come do the show, they said that they found a second baby. So
Yeah.
there were two of them.
That one
And
was in the trunk.
this chick was crying like she didn't know. Oh my God, wait, there's two of them. I'm going to tell you something. She's in Baltimore. And I don't care if you're a man or a woman in prison. I don't care what prison you're in, male or female, they're going to get you, because what they don't like is people that hurt little people. Okay,
Yeah,
little
no one
kids.
likes that. Right. So, and here's the thing. The sister, CPS had been involved, and the sister had given the kids to this lady. They had not laid eyes on those kids. She was still sending them text messages, asking them for clothes and all of this stuff. Like, so she was completely playing like these kids were still with us. No CPS person coming and checking, no CPS, no nothing. For a year, one of them had been gone because it was a brother and sister, right?
Yep.
Um,
A 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
right. So the brother wasn't right away. The brother was a little bit after that, and no one ever checked on this. So tell me this: you're going to tell me that CPS doesn't just go get your kid, steals your kid from you, kidnaps your kid, dumps it off on a foster family, chalks it up, wipes their hands off, and then just walks away?
That's why Mr. Ramey said they want proof that these children are where they're supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean, how many people do we hear the stories that I forget they have a name for these families that they say, but they just come in and pretty much they're like, look, we don't care what you do. We don't care how you do it. But when they come to check on you, you need to be home, and other than that, we don't even want to see your face. Like, go out, be on the streets. Like, Bo would tell us about that too. Like, they're just check cashers. That's all they are. And they don't even want these kids in their houses. But, like, some of them like these freedoms that they're given, and then some of them don't, they would pretty much get granted carte blanche to run the street, become a gangster, or whatever they try to become. And, the facts are this: if you're going to be given that life and that freedom before you're really of age and that you should be given that, you're not going up anyway. I mean, you might get a good push, something happens to you later in life. But overall, without that structure of a family, without all of that going on, and you just trying to figure it out yourself on the streets, you've got nowhere to go. Your life without that structure, that family structure, without someone holding you accountable, without all of those things, you don't stand a freaking chance in this world. You just don't. You just don't. And it sucks. And they're literally giving these kids that have come from a somewhat structured home, that are loved, be cared for. There might be some shit going on in the house, but whose house isn't there? If you find me a perfect person other than Jesus, and I'll show you, I don't know what I could show you, but something. But you know what I mean? Like, there's no one's perfect. No one lives a perfect life. Life happens to all of us. Shit happens. We make a split-second bad decision that haunts us for the rest of our life. And that's not right. You're in a hurry to get to the kid's school. Someone steps out on the crosswalk. You're not paying attention. You run them over and you kill them. You didn't mean to do that. It was an accident. Like, you're just not paying attention to that split second. Does that mean that you're a horrible person? You're a murderer? You're all this? No, it doesn't. Absolutely not. And if anybody's going to feel the worst about it, it's going to be you for doing that. But yet they're going to penalize you like you were a mass murderer and all this and that. And that's awful. Because you didn't mean to do that stuff. It's the same thing that happens, in CPS cases in most instances. Because let's be honest, CPS just doesn't randomly show up at your house. If there's one thing that we can all be honest about, it's not that you didn't do nothing to have CPS come in. There was a reason that a flag went up and something took place that concerned someone to come. Now, whether it was an anonymous phone call or whatever, that's to be, determined. But in most cases, it stemmed from something that we all made a bad life choice, right? That's fair to be said, correct? But it's up to us to defend ourselves and make it that way. And CPS should understand that life just happens sometimes. You can't predict what this is going to bring. Like I always say, caseworker could walk out in that street with your kid after they take them and they both get hit by a school bus and they're gone. And they didn't see that coming. And then now whose fault is this? You know what I mean? But when you got a kid in the thing for a year, you got a woman that's saying that they're still alive, and you don't have anybody checking on this, well, shame on you. Shame on you for not seeing how these kids are doing. I mean, that's BS. They should be a mandatory every month check-in or something. An interview with the kid, making sure that things are okay, making sure that their needs are met. Because at the end of the day, this removal is supposed to be reflective of the kid's torturous life that they're living, right? So they're the ones that are being victimized out of this whole thing. They should be treated like kings and queens and given the best life possible when they're removed, because they're the ones that are fucked in the head from this.
Right.
They're
Which brings me
either.
to my next story. So my husband finished watching that and said,
television, I guess.
Yeah, until we had an incident with the internet going out. But anyway, so he said, and there was another one that came on, and he said a grandmother, he said exterminated because King was in the car. Exterminated all 10 of her grandkids. So I'm like, she killed him, and he was like, I was trying to keep it on the DL. But she killed him from ages 1 to 12. All 10 of these grandchildren were from one child. Now, my philosophy is you should have killed the daughter, not the kids. It's not their fault.
Let's you know what? Let's take a peek into this for a minute, shall we?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is well, you guys see this for yourselves here. Oh my.
I'm not their mother. I gave everything I had. That's what Marceline Hayes wrote on a piece of paper taped to her refrigerator. Just hours after she put all 10 of her grandchildren to bed, permanently. She was 63, a churchgoer, a quiet soul in a crumbling house with too many mouths to feed. For years, she raised her daughter's kids while Tasha, their mother, ran wild, chasing men, money, and nights out, dumping her kids at grandma's doorstep like bags of laundry. Neighbors saw Marceline fade. Her smile vanished. Her voice got thin. CPS came and went. No help ever came. No fathers showed up. No system stepped in. And when Tasha dropped off all 10 children for a weekend concert run, Marceline didn't protest. 2 days later, the house was silent. Too silent. No cartoons, no footsteps, no life. Just Marceline, sitting calmly on the couch, waiting for police to knock. This wasn't a crime of rage. It was a slow collapse. A woman buried by motherhood that wasn't hers, in a system that never cared. This is the story of the grandmother who snapped, and the 10 children who paid the ultimate price. Welcome to Crime Corner. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories. Marceline Hayes had always been the quiet type, the kind of woman who stayed in her lane, paid her bills, and didn't speak unless spoken to. At 63, she still walked upright, wore her Sunday hat to church, and kept her garden trimmed. To neighbors in the sleepy town of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, she was a gentle soul, soft-spoken, polite, and maybe a little old-fashioned. But behind the walls of her weathered three-bedroom home on the corner of Maple Street, things weren't so peaceful. 10 children lived there, all under the age of 13. All hers, but not in the way people think. They were her grandkids. Loud, messy, hungry, growing grandkids. And every one of them had been left by their mother, Tasha Hayes. Marceline didn't ask for this life, but it found her. Tasha, Marceline's only daughter, was 30 years old and never still for long. She moved through men like wind through leaves. A new boyfriend each month, a new every season. She'd show up on Marceline's porch with car doors swinging open and kids climbing out like a clown car at a circus. Diapers in one bag, cereal in another. No warning, no groceries, no plan. Just a kiss on the cheek and a "love you, mama," before peeling out of the driveway. She called it getting her life together. Marceline called it something else, but never out loud. Inside that house, chaos lived on every surface. The fridge door was covered in crayon drawings and reminders for school lunch days. The living room had long ago given up trying to be a living room. It was now part playpen, part laundry station, and part battlefield. Marceline moved through it all like a ghost, cleaning, cooking, correcting, collapsing. She had a schedule written in marker on a taped-up piece of cardboard. Wake the older ones by 6:30, get the twins dressed by 7, feed the baby, find the missing shoe, remind Jacob not to hit, walk to the bus stop, come home, start all over. The oldest grandchild was 12, the youngest barely 1. There was no help, no other adults, just her aching back, and a mountain of responsibilities that never stopped growing. At church, people smiled at her. "You're so strong, Miss Marceline," they'd say, but none of them ever offered to babysit. No one asked how she was holding up. They saw her as dependable. That was the curse. On the surface, Marceline seemed fine. She showed up at parent-teacher meetings. She signed field trip forms. She even baked cookies once for a class party. But there were cracks, big ones. She talked to herself sometimes while folding laundry. She'd forget names when calling the kids to dinner. Her hands shook when she held the baby too long. She was unraveling slowly. The kind of slow nobody notices until it's too late. The truth was, that house was full of love once. But love, when stretched too thin, stops feeling like a blessing and starts feeling like a burden. Marceline never meant to become a parent all over again, but with Tasha gone more than she was around, she had no choice. She didn't complain. She didn't scream. She just carried the weight, alone, and that weight was getting heavier by the day. Every morning on Maple Street started the same. The sun would rise over cracked sidewalks and faded porch wings, and Marceline Hayes would already be outside, wrangling children like it was a job, because for her it was. Not one she applied for, one that landed in her lap and never left. She'd walk the same route to the bus stop, 5 blocks uphill. Her steps were slow, knees stiff from years of arthritis, but she pushed through, a baby strapped to her chest, a toddler clinging to one side, and a line of little ones trailing behind like ducklings. Their backpacks were too big. Their shoes barely matched, but she kept them moving. Some neighbors watched from behind curtains. Some waved. Some looked away. One woman across the street, Mrs. Dolores, once tried to help, offered her a ride. Marceline declined politely, said she needed the walk, but her eyes told a different story. They were glassy, red around the edges, the kind of tiredness that sleep can't fix. After the kids were gone, she'd trudge home with the baby on her hip and laundry waiting in heaps. Breakfast dishes in the sink, dirty diapers in the pail. No silence, even when the house was technically quiet. The crying always came. One child or another fussing, fighting, needing. She didn't complain to anyone, but her body did. Weight started melting off her frame, slowly at first, then faster. Her cheeks sank. Her arms turned to sticks. Her clothes hung loose like they belonged to someone else. Friends at church noticed. So did the mailman. But no one said anything past a polite, "You all right, Miss Marceline?" She always said yes, but she never looked all right. Sometimes when the house was finally still, Marceline would walk out to the mailbox. She'd linger there, not to wait for letters. She rarely got any, but to catch her breath, to feel the air, to be alone. That was when her neighbor Terry saw her. Terry never forgot that moment. Marceline stood with one hand on the mailbox, shoulders shaking, eyes closed. Tears rolled down her cheeks, but her face stayed neutral, like crying had become routine, something automatic. And under her breath, she whispered something that chilled Terry to her core. "Nobody sees me." Terry wanted to ask what was wrong, wanted to step in, but she didn't. She told herself it wasn't her business, that Marceline was tough. Maybe it was just a bad day, but it wasn't just one bad day, it was years of them. Inside that house, Marceline wasn't just a grandmother. She was a nurse, a cook, a mediator, a janitor, a counselor. She gave herself completely to those kids, and little by little it chipped away at her. Tasha was gone again, off chasing love, freedom, anything but her own responsibilities. Marceline picked up the pieces every time, but each time it got harder. People praised Marceline for being strong, but strength, when taken for granted, becomes invisible. And the weight she carried wasn't just heavy, it was crushing. No one saw it happening. Or maybe they did, but didn't know what they were looking at. And by the time they did, it was already too late. Tasha Hayes was 30 years old, single, and always on the move. She had 10 children by the time she was barely out of her 20s. Most of them had different fathers. None of those men were involved. Tasha didn't seem concerned. She had other priorities. She didn't live in one place for long. Her life was a blur of short-term rentals, boyfriends, and weekend trips. She floated from city to city chasing excitement, rarely calling ahead when she needed someone to watch the kids. When things got tough, or when a relationship fell apart, she'd show up at her mother Marceline's doorstep. She never knocked. She just dropped the children off and left again, often the same night. Tasha's social media painted a very different picture. Her posts were filled with photos of club nights, designer clothes, and carefully staged selfies. She tagged restaurants and rooftop bars, shared videos of herself laughing with friends, and posted captions about freedom and independence. To outsiders, she looked confident, happy. But what the posts never showed were the 10 children living in a cramped house with their aging grandmother, waiting for their mother to come back. Motherhood for Tasha was a role she only played when it suited her. She described it as draining, like something that weighed her down. She often blamed her own rough upbringing for the choices she made, pointing to the strict household she was raised in. But while she talked about the past, she took little responsibility for the present. Instead of building something stable, she leaned on Marceline like a permanent safety net. Family members noticed the pattern but rarely confronted her. She moved too fast, always one step ahead of real accountability. If someone questioned her parenting, she would vanish from their life. If a man showed interest in being part of her world, she'd focus on him until the excitement faded. Then it was back to Marceline's again, kids in tow, car trunk full of clothes and complaints. In the quiet town they all lived in, people noticed, Tasha's behavior was hard to ignore. Neighbors saw her come and go at odd hours, glancing at her children as she passed them off. The kids arrived at Marceline's tired, unwashed, sometimes hungry, but Tasha didn't slow down. She never looked back long enough to see how it was affecting them, or their grandmother. Each time she left the children behind, it became a little more routine. There were no check-ins, no apologies. The visits grew shorter, and the gaps between them longer. She offered no money, no food, and no plan. She simply assumed Marceline would handle it. She always had. Tasha didn't worry about rules or limits. She believed the world owed her peace, and that her mother owed her help. It never seemed to occur to her that Marceline might be overwhelmed, that maybe she was pushing her too far, that maybe the stress was more than an old woman could quietly carry. She didn't see the damage building in the walls of the house. She didn't hear how quiet Marceline had become, or notice how tired her eyes looked. She didn't ask. She didn't stay long enough to find out. And with each exit, Tasha made one thing clear without ever saying it. Whatever happened behind that door wasn't her problem. The house always looked too full. Too many shoes piled at the door. Too many bags crammed into the corner. Signs, but nobody really said anything. Marceline Hayes' small home, built for maybe 4 people, held 11. 1 woman and 10 children. It was the kind of arrangement that made people uncomfortable to think about, so they didn't. But the system noticed. Over the course of 1 year, Child Protective Services made 3 separate visits to the property. Reports had come in from different sources, some anonymous, others from people who knew the family. The complaints were consistent. The house was overcrowded, the children looked unkempt, and no adult supervision was visible during the day. Each visit followed the same pattern. A knock at the door, a rushed conversation. Marceline, always polite, always calm, let them in. She showed them the bedrooms. She showed them the pantry. Everything was neat, at least on the surface. Beds were made, floors swept, the fridge had food. The kids, when asked, said they were fine, and that was enough. There were no bruises, no screaming, no immediate evidence of harm. So the caseworkers took notes and moved on. Some marked it as borderline but low risk. Others flagged it for follow-up, but nothing ever came of those follow-ups. Marceline passed each visit by saying the right things at the right time. She knew how to talk to officials. Years of handling life alone had taught her what they wanted to hear. What no one seemed to ask, or if they did, never pushed hard enough, was how she was coping. 10 kids, ages ranging from toddlers to teenagers, each with different needs, different routines, different challenges, diapers and homework, fevers and fights, all landing on the shoulders of a 63-year-old woman with no partner and no backup. The kids were not in danger, at least not in the way the system defines it. They were fed. They had beds, but they also had vacant stares. They were quiet when they should have been loud. They flinched at sudden movements. One teacher at the elementary school noted that the youngest girl cried whenever it was time to go home. Another child fell asleep in class every day, eyes heavy with something deeper than just exhaustion. Still, the reports didn't escalate. The caseworkers were stretched thin, overloaded with more urgent cases, babies in true danger, homes with visible violence, parents under the influence. Compared to that, Marceline's situation looked manageable. Tragic, maybe, but not a criminal. No one saw the warning signs for what they were. Not the social workers, not the school counselors, not the neighbors who heard crying at odd hours but figured it wasn't their place. Marceline never raised her voice. She never asked for help. She just carried on, keeping up the appearance of control while her spirit slowly frayed. She passed every test placed before her. Clean counters, folded clothes, children who smiled on command. But what no checklist could measure was the weight pressing on her chest. The kind that made her body move slower, her thoughts grow darker. The kind that doesn't show up in reports until it's too late. And by the time anyone realized the truth, 10 children were already gone. Marceline stopped being herself long before anyone noticed. At church, where she once sang alto in the choir, her seat stayed empty for weeks. She used to bring the youngest grandkids dressed in their Sunday best, hair neat, shoes shine. But one Sunday became 2, then 3, until no one saw her at all. When asked, the pastor said she was probably just tired. That word came up a lot. Tired. Her body began to tell the story that her mouth never did. The roundness in her cheeks faded. Her clothes started hanging loose. Her arms, once strong from years of lifting children and groceries, looked thin and fragile. The bags under her eyes were deep and purple. She didn't walk so much as shuffle. Every step seemed like something she had to think about. Like her legs didn't move unless her mind reminded them to. The house reflected her wear. Toys were still picked up, but barely. Dishes stacked higher than usual. Laundry took longer to appear folded. The older kids helped when they could, but children helping raise children could only do so much. Marceline was always in motion, but less and less was getting done. She'd start boiling rice and forget the stove was still on. The kids ate cereal for dinner 3 nights in a row. School notices were missed. Doctor appointments were rescheduled or skipped altogether. One day she put a baby bottle in the cabinet and a can of soup in the crib. When asked about it later, she said she didn't remember doing that at all. The people closest to her, those who tried to check in, could feel the difference. One friend recalled stopping by and seeing Marceline on the porch, staring at nothing, her lips moving, but no sound coming out. When she finally made eye contact, she smiled and waved. But the gesture looked like it took everything she had left. Another friend said she once brought over a casserole and left it on the porch. When she came back the next day, it was still there, untouched. Flies had started gathering. Marceline eventually texted a thank you, but didn't explain why it sat outside. She simply said, "Things have been heavy." Everything about her became distant. Phone calls were shorter. Texts came less often. The moments she did respond, her words were flat. She didn't complain. She didn't vent. She just quietly faded, like someone preparing to exit a room without drawing attention. The weight she carried wasn't just physical, it was emotional, psychological. Each child added more responsibility, more noise, more needs. And with Tasha gone more often than not, those needs fell squarely on one person. Marceline didn't just feel tired, she felt invisible. And invisibility, when paired with exhaustion, can be a deadly thing. Her neighbors chalked it up to age. Her church chalked it up to stress. But what no one realized was that Marceline wasn't just slipping, she was unraveling. And though no one could hear it, a silent decision had already started forming in her mind. One that didn't come from anger, one that didn't come from hate, but from the quiet, crushing feeling of being completely alone, with no end in sight. It was a Friday evening that felt like any other. The sky was starting to dim, streaks of orange and pink folding into one another. In the Hayes neighborhood, kids played outside, dogs barked, and porch lights flicked on one by one. But something was different at the small house on the corner, Marceline's house. A van pulled up fast, tires crunching gravel as it turned sharply into the driveway. Tasha stepped out, looking rushed. She was wearing high heels and a tight outfit more suited for a club than a visit home. The 10 children spilled out behind her, backpacks dragging, little hands
What happened?
clutching toys, tab her fast food. Already explained much. She never did. She told her mother she was headed to a concert. This time wasn't even asked how long. She didn't ask who the man was in the drive. She didn't ask anything. She just stepped back and let the kids inside one by one. Each child wandered toward their usual spot. Some went to the living room, some headed toward bedrooms, others asked what was for dinner. Marceline didn't answer. She just watched. Tasha disappeared just as fast as she'd arrived. A door slammed, the engine revved, and the van sped off into the dusk. No hugs, no looking back. Inside the house, chaos resumed immediately. The toddler began to cry because his bottle was missing. Two siblings argued over a tablet charger. Someone spilled juice on the hallway floor. One of the old kids asked if the Wi-Fi was working. Marceline didn't move right away. She just stood at the door, staring at the street long after Tasha's taillights disappeared. Later that night, the house fell into uneasy silence. Marceline made sandwiches and passed them out without speaking. No hot meals, no bedtime stories, just white bread, a slice of ham, and a handful of chips. The children took what they were given. They learned not to ask for more. The living room light stayed on as kids dozed off in corners, on couches, and wherever there was space. The bedrooms were overcrowded, mattresses pressed against walls, with pillows shared between 2 or 3 heads. The hallway was lined with tiny shoes and laundry baskets full of clothes. The air smelled of baby powder and exhaustion. Marceline sat in her chair that night, the one by the window where she used to read her Bible. But she didn't pick up any yarn. She didn't turn a page. She just sat still, eyes unfocused, hands resting in her lap. Her breathing was steady, her posture calm. But something was off. Something had shifted deep inside her. Something no one would notice until it was too late. There was no scream, no outburst, only stillness, only quiet. And in that quiet, a choice had begun to harden, one she would not turn away from. By Sunday morning, the house at the end of the block no longer sounded like a home with 10 children. It used to be the loudest on the street, cartoons playing at full volume, back doors slamming, screen doors creaking, kids laughing and shouting over cereal bowls. But that weekend, there was nothing. Not a single sound came from inside Marceline Hayes' small house. The neighbor across the street, an older woman named Miss Cheryl, noticed it first. She stood on her porch drinking her coffee and squinted at the house. No movement behind the curtains. No little heads bobbing past the windows. No bikes in the yard. The driveway was empty, but that wasn't unusual. Marceline didn't drive. What was strange was how still the place looked. By noon, Cheryl walked over with a bag of muffins. She thought maybe Marceline was sick. Maybe the kids were visiting their mom, though that seemed unlikely. When she rang the bell, there was no answer. She knocked, waited, still nothing. Cheryl frowned, leaned down to listen. She thought she heard something, maybe a TV in the distance, but she couldn't be sure. She left the muffins on the doorstep and walked back slowly, glancing over her shoulder every few steps. Later that day, the mailman noticed something too. The mailbox, usually empty by morning, was overflowing. Letters were stuffed tight, one hanging half out, fluttering in the breeze. Packages sat untouched on the front stoop. A small shoebox with a child's name written in marker had been left on Friday, still there. The mailman paused, took a mental note, then moved on. By sunset, the neighborhood was watching. Windows were cracked open. Curtains were lifted an inch or two. Everyone knew the Hayes house was usually alive with sound. It had become part of the landscape, the noise, the activity, the daily shuffle of raising 10 kids. Without it, the street felt unbalanced. By Monday, concern grew into tension. Some wondered if the family had left. Others whispered things they couldn't explain. A couple of children from down the block dared each other to peek through the side window. They climbed onto an old milk crate and tried, but the blinds were closed tight. A family member, a cousin from the next town, drove by that evening. She was the type to check in randomly, especially when she hadn't heard from Marceline in a few days. She tried calling, but the line went straight to voicemail. Texts went unanswered. The cousin parked, knocked hard on the door, waited, then called out Marceline's name. Nothing. By Tuesday morning, she came back with a spare key. She stood on the porch for a long time before unlocking the door. The air inside felt heavy, not stale but thick, like it hadn't moved in days. The quiet wasn't peaceful, it was wrong, too deep, too still. She didn't go far before backing out and calling 911. What she had seen inside was just enough to know something was terribly wrong. She didn't need to count. She didn't need to touch anything. The silence of Birchwood Lane had turned into something else entirely. The call came in just after 9 a.m. A relative had gone to check on the Hayes family and found something she couldn't explain. The 911 dispatcher's voice stayed calm, asking for details, but the woman on the phone couldn't form clear sentences. All she kept saying was, "You need to send someone. Please, now." Police arrived within 10 minutes. They knocked first. No answer. Then they tried the door. It was unlocked. Inside, the house was silent. Too silent. Officers entered carefully, one hand on their holsters, unsure of what they were walking into. The living room was clean. Too clean. The television was off. The lights still on. A faint scent of air freshener filled the space, masking something that hadn't yet revealed itself. In the front room, they saw her. Marceline Hayes sat calmly on the couch, her hands folded neatly in her lap. She looked up at the officers without fear, without emotion. Her face was blank. Her clothes are tidy. No signs of struggle, no sign that she had been harmed. But her eyes told a different story. Vacant, like something inside had already left. They asked her to stand. She did. Slowly, stiffly. She said nothing. Officers began moving through the house, room by room. Each door creaked open to reveal the same awful scene. 10 children, all tucked into their beds, fully dressed as if they had been laid down after a school day. Each one motionless, lifeless. There were no signs of a fight, no mess, no panic, just stillness. One room had bunk beds, 2 boys resting above, 2 below. Another room held a crib, where the youngest, a toddler, was placed gently on his back. Every child had been killed in the same way. The exact details were not immediately released, but it was clear to investigators that this was not an accident. There were no signs of outside entry, no forced doors, no broken windows, nothing to suggest someone else had come in. Crime scene investigators arrived shortly after. They photographed every room, bagged evidence, took samples. They searched the kitchen drawers and medicine cabinets. They checked for poison, checked for drugs. Everything appeared in order, too much so. It was as if Marceline had planned every step. The bodies were removed quietly, placed into black bags and carried into waiting vans. The neighbors who had gathered across the street began to cry. Some covered their mouths. Some whispered prayers. Others just stared, unable to believe what they were seeing. The house that had so loud was now the quietest on the block. And inside, Marceline never asked what would happen next. The photo beside the note was one of the youngest child, barely a toddler, chubby cheeks, big smile. He wore a red t-shirt that said, "Mommy's favorite." The paper next to it, taped unevenly to the fridge, stood in stark contrast to the joy captured in the image. The note wasn't long. It didn't ramble. It didn't beg for forgiveness. It simply said, "I'm not their mother. I gave everything I had." Those words would go on to define the tragedy. In the media, in court, in every discussion about what happened inside that quiet home in Arkansas. For the officers who discovered it, the meaning was clear. This wasn't a crime of passion. It wasn't impulsive. It was methodical, pre-planned. The handwriting had been traced over more than once, as if Marceline wanted to make sure every letter was readable. She had thought about what she wanted to say, and more importantly, what she didn't want to say. She didn't write any of their names. Not her daughters, not the children's. Just that single haunting message. And the placement, right on the fridge, where you'd normally see crayon drawings or grocery lists, only made it worse. Investigators took photos of the note before removing it. It was bagged carefully. Forensic teams checked the ink, the tape, the paper. Nothing unusual turned up. It was a common marker, standard paper, the kind found in any home office. But its impact, anything but ordinary. Family members were contacted immediately. Tasha couldn't be reached. Several cousins were notified. One aunt fainted at the news. No one could understand how things had gotten to this point. Some asked why no one had seen it coming. Others claimed they had, but no one listened. The note made people argue. Some said it proved Marceline had snapped, that she didn't know what she was doing. Others said it showed just how aware she was, enough to write a final message and calmly wait for the consequences. News outlets got hold of the note's contents within hours. It was all over the local headlines. "I gave everything I had." That quote became the tagline of the tragedy. It was printed beneath every photo of the house, of Marceline, of the children. TV anchors repeated it. Experts debated it. Viewers whispered about it in their living rooms. Online, people began dissecting it. Was it a cry for help? A final act of defiance? A cold truth spoken by a woman who'd been pushed too far? Inside the house, there was no mess, no blood, no broken furniture, just that note, taped by hand next to a smiling baby boy. There were no fingerprints other than Marceline's. No sign anyone else had even touched it. The message wasn't hidden. It wasn't tucked away in a drawer or scribbled on a bathroom wall. It was out in the open, like everything Marceline had carried for years. Open, but ignored. She didn't try to run. She didn't try to hide the evidence. The note wasn't for the police. It wasn't for the press. It was for whoever finally showed up. Too late. Marceline Hayes did not cry when they handcuffed her. She did not yell, resist, or ask questions. She calmly from her couch to the back of the police cruiser, past the lifeless bodies of 10 children she had once tucked in every night. She stared straight ahead, expression unreadable, as if her mind had already stepped out of the room hours ago. At the station, she sat quietly. No signs of confusion, no signs of fear. Officers offered her water, but she didn't drink it. They offered a lawyer. She refused. When the questions finally came, she answered them. Not quickly, but not reluctantly either. Like someone who had spent days practicing every word in her head. She confessed to everything. She told the detective she had been slowly breaking for years. That every diaper, every scraped knee, every report card and lunchbox and late-night cough had chipped away at her bit by bit. That she had begged for help more than once, and no one came. That her daughter Tasha saw her not as a mother, but as a tool, a free babysitter, a convenience. She explained how she had thought it through, not in a flash of anger but over time, how she planned it across multiple days, down to which blankets she'd use, which food would be their last, and which pajamas each child liked best. She didn't name the method in detail, but authorities already knew. What shocked detectives most wasn't the horror of the act, it was her calm. Marceline didn't cry. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She didn't try to shift blame. She said only that she believed the children deserved peace, that living in chaos, bouncing between a club-hopping mother and a grandmother held together by nothing but guilt and routine, was no life at all. She repeated a phrase multiple times during her questioning. I just wanted the noise to stop. There was no indication of mental illness on the surface, no history of medication, no past violent behavior. Marceline had passed every CPS inspection. She'd cooked, cleaned, and attended school meetings. But the quiet madness had been growing under all of that, undetected. The video from the interrogation room was later played during trial. Viewers across the country saw a woman who looked worn out but not unstable. Her voice was steady. Her answers were short but clear. She never smiled. She never once said sorry. Experts were brought in to assess her mental state. Some called her dissociative. Others said she showed signs of severe depression, masked by high-functioning behavior. But legally, she was fit to stand trial. She understood what she had done. Public reaction was divided. Some saw a monster in human skin. Others saw a woman crushed by a system that expected her to carry a burden no one else would touch. Either way, Marceline never asked for pity. When police finally tracked down Tasha Hayes, she wasn't hiding. She was in a hotel room across the state line in Texas, surrounded by shopping bags, a half-eaten fast food meal, and a man she'd been dating for barely a month. Her phone had been off for 2 days. She hadn't checked in with her children, hadn't answered calls from family, and hadn't even opened the group texts that hinted something might be wrong. Detectives knocked on the hotel door just before noon. The man opened it. Tasha was still lying on the bed, scrolling through a dating app. At first, when officers explained who they were and what had happened back home, she laughed. Not because she found it funny, but because she thought it had to be a mistake, a misunderstanding. 10 kids, gone. That wasn't possible. Then they showed her a printed statement, a name, her mother's name, Marceline Hayes, and a number, 10. Tasha's body stiffened. She slid off the bed slowly, hands to her mouth. The color drained from her face. Her knees gave way, and she dropped to the floor in a silent collapse. For a few seconds, there was no sound. Then came the screams, loud, gasping, and broken. But back home, her cries were met with more bitterness than sympathy. News had already spread by the time Tasha was brought in for questioning. Local news stations were reporting on the tragedy nonstop. Photos of the children, school portraits, and birthday snapshots were plastered across every screen. People were angry, and much of their anger wasn't directed at Marceline. It was at the daughter who had left 10 lives in someone else's hands and vanished. Tasha's social media exploded. People screenshotted her Instagram photos, bottle service, birthday trips, bathroom selfies in clubs. Commenters flooded her posts. Some called her selfish, some called her a criminal. Others used even harsher words. They blamed her for leaving her children with a woman who was clearly overwhelmed. They blamed her for knowing deep down that her mother was drowning and doing nothing. During police questioning, Tasha said she had no idea Marceline was struggling that much. She said her mother always looked fine and never asked her to stop. When asked how often she left the kids with Marceline, Tasha said she couldn't remember. She claimed she was doing her best as a single mother, that she needed breaks, that her mother had always stepped up. But those explanations rang hollow to investigators. Her best was disappearing for days without checking in. Her breaks lasted weeks. And every time things got hard, she dropped the weight on someone else. In the days that followed, Tasha tried to plan funerals, but family members pushed back. Some didn't want her involved. A few said she didn't deserve to stand beside those caskets. Even her cousins, who once defended her wild lifestyle as just being young, pulled away. The sympathy she had expected never arrived. The public saw her as part of the problem, not with blood on her hand, with neglect in her shadow. She wasn't arrested. She wasn't, but in the court of public opinion, Tasha Hayes had already been found guilty. The nation didn't just hear the story, they felt it. News outlets ran the headline for days. Arkansas grandmother kills 10 grandchildren in cold blood. The numbers alone were horrifying. 10 children, 1 woman, 1 quiet home now turned into a symbol of something far bigger than a single tragedy. As more details came out about Marceline's exhaustion, about the overcrowding, about Tasha's repeated disappearances, the public split into sides, and they were loud about it. Some were quick to call Marceline a monster. They saw the pictures of the children, each one smiling, innocent, and full of life, and couldn't imagine how anyone could harm them, especially someone who raised them. They pointed to her planning, her calm demeanor after the act, and her refusal to apologize. They demanded justice. Many wanted the death penalty. They asked how a woman who had spent years holding babies could become someone who stopped their hearts. But another group blamed Tasha. To them, the real crime was not just the killing, it was what came before it. They saw a daughter who dumped her children at her mother's door and walked away without looking back. They remembered the social media photos, the clubs, the men, the captions about needing a break. These voices shouted that Marceline should have gotten help, yes, but that help should have come from the mother who gave birth to those kids. They called Tasha selfish. They called her negligent. Some even suggested she should be charged for putting her kids in harm's way. Still others pointed fingers even higher, at the system, the people meant to protect children, the agencies that had visited the Hayes home and walked away. Journalists uncovered 3 separate visits from Child Protective Services in the last 18 months. Each time the case had been closed, no follow-ups, no intervention, just forms filed and boxes checked. To many, that was the real failure. Not just Marceline breaking down, but a world that let her carry so much for so long without support. Family members also couldn't agree. Some stood outside the courtroom with signs that said justice for the kids. Others posted messages asking for forgiveness, saying Marceline had been pushed too far. A cousin on Tasha's side told reporters, "We all saw it coming. No one wanted to say it out loud." The community was divided. Talk shows debated the story for days. Was it murder? Was it madness? Was it a cry for help that came too late? Some experts said Marceline showed signs of caregiver burnout, a psychological state where exhaustion turns dangerous. Others said that was no excuse for what she did. Comment sections were filled with arguments. Mothers blamed daughters, daughters blamed grandmothers. Everyone blamed someone. And in the middle of it all were 10 small faces. Their names were read aloud at vigils, their school teachers lit candles, and their classmates left drawings on the fence outside the house. The mural went up quickly, 10 stars, 10 smiles. But even painted in love, the wall couldn't block out the noise of a nation looking for someone to blame. The truth didn't come from the courtroom or the family. It came from paperwork, files buried deep in a case management system nobody had touched since last year. A local reporter filed a records request out of curiosity, hoping to learn whether Marceline had ever asked for help. What came back changed the story entirely. There were 3 calls, all made by Marceline herself. 3 times she had reached out to Child Protective Services in a 12-month period. 3 different caseworkers had spoken with her. Each time her words had been nearly the same. The first report came in just after the start of the school year. Marceline said she was overwhelmed. She had 8 children with her at the time, some toddlers, some in middle school. She asked if there were programs to give her a break. Respite care, maybe. A caseworker made a note. Caretaker appears tired, but not in immediate danger. Suggested local food pantry and after-school tutoring options. Case closed in 7 days. The second came during the holidays. Christmas was around the corner. Marceline had all 10 kids under her roof. She asked about temporary foster care, just for a few days. She said she needed sleep, needed quiet. The note read, "House clean. Children appear healthy, no signs of abuse, referred to a local nonprofit, no further action." The third came in the early spring. This time the tone had changed. Marceline asked if the kids could be split up, if any could be taken in by other family members. She said she was starting to forget things, that she had locked herself in the bathroom just to cry. Too many little voices, she said. I can't hear my own thoughts. The call was flagged as low priority due to lack of immediate danger. The note ended with a line that would later haunt everyone who read it. No follow-up needed at this time. Each time she reached out, each time the answer was no. When the story broke, the agency responsible went into damage control. A spokesperson issued a statement expressing sadness and promising an internal review. But inside the department, no one was surprised. Caseworkers were burned out. Caseloads were high. The office was understaffed, and too many calls like Marceline's were treated the same way. Mild concern, brushed aside, no deeper look. One former employee, speaking anonymously, said what others were too afraid to admit. It's not that we didn't care, we just didn't have the people. If it's not bruises or broken bones, it goes to the bottom of the stack. Advocates for child welfare immediately responded. Some blamed leadership, others said the rules needed to change. But for the public, the damage was already done. The idea that help had been asked for and denied shattered whatever simple version of the story remained. It didn't excuse the outcome. It didn't bring the children back. But it added something cold and awful to the narrative. Not just that a woman had broken, but that she had whispered for help and no one had listened. After the news spread, the public began asking another question no one had dared to say out loud in the first days of grief. Where were the fathers? Of the 10 children who lost their lives in Marceline's home, 8 had different last names. School records and medical forms showed a list of fathers. Different spellings, different addresses, and in many cases, no contact information at all. In some files, the father field was simply left blank. No emergency contacts, no guardianship notes, just Marceline. When the police tried to notify next of kin, they ran into dead ends. Some numbers were disconnected, others went to voicemail and were never returned. A few men hung up when they learned what had happened. Not one father showed up at the hospital, not one came to the morgue to identify a child. The coroner's office waited days before proceeding. When no legal guardians came forward, Marceline was legally recognized as the next of kin for all 10. Even in death, the responsibility remained hers. Reporters tried to track down the men. They searched social media, scanned old mugshots, even visited addresses linked to child support filings. One man was in another state with a new family. Another had been in and out of prison for years. Several simply couldn't be located. When court proceedings began, the judge asked, formally and on the record, if any biological fathers wished to speak or claim responsibility. The courtroom was quiet. The benches, once packed with media and angry relatives, had more empty rows than people that day. No father took the stand. No father wrote a statement. No one asked for their child's remains. Tasha, the mother of all 10, had no answers either. When questioned about the fathers, she shrugged. Some names she remembered, others she didn't. Some men had been around for a month, some only a few weeks. None had stayed. None had sent gifts, school supplies, or called on birthdays. To Tasha, they were memories blurred by time and bad choices. Family members on Marceline's side grew bitter. Some blamed Tasha, some blamed the men. All of them felt the weight of what had been left behind. One aunt quietly arranged for a group burial, since no one else had stepped up to claim the children. 10 caskets, 10 plots, paid for by donations and the local church. The absence of the fathers became more than a detail. It became a wound that ran beneath the headlines. In news discussions, it was mentioned carefully, like a bruise nobody wanted to press. But the silence around it screamed louder than anything else. Marceline's lawyers tried to bring up the lack of paternal support during trial prep, suggesting it might help paint the picture of pressure and abandonment. But the court didn't allow it. The children were gone, and their fathers, present or not, couldn't be tried for absence. Still, for everyone watching from outside, the message was impossible to ignore. These children hadn't just been failed by one person, they'd been failed by a whole line of men who vanished when they were needed most. The courthouse in Pulaski County had never seen anything like it. When the trial date was set, local media called it the most disturbing case in Arkansas in over a decade. People drove in from nearby towns just to stand outside the courthouse, hoping for a glimpse of the woman at the center of the storm. Marceline Hayes, the grandmother accused of killing all 10 of her grandchildren. She entered the courtroom wearing a beige jail uniform, her face unreadable. There were no tears, no nods, no signs of regret. She moved slowly with a slight limp and sat quietly beside her lawyer. Dozens of cameras clicked as she walked past them. Every reporter wanted to capture the face of the woman who had carried the weight of 10 lives and then taken them all away. The prosecution came prepared with a list of charges, 10 counts of capital murder. They outlined their case with timelines, medical reports, and expert analysis. They painted Marceline as someone who knew what she was doing, someone who had taken her time and carried out the killings with methodical precision. They told the jury that all 10 children were found in their beds, fully dressed, with no signs of struggle. The act, they said, was not one of panic. It was planned. On the other side, the defense didn't deny the facts. Marceline's lawyer told the court there would be no arguments about who did it. Instead, they focused on why she did it. They described a woman abandoned by her daughter, left alone with 10 kids, each with different needs, none of whom she had asked to raise. They presented notes from past visits to social services, showing her attempts to seek help. They showed her health records, blood pressure, arthritis, chronic fatigue. They said this was not a monster, but a broken person who had been pushed too far. Throughout the trial, the courtroom displayed large frame photos of each child, school portraits, holiday snapshots, smiles frozen in time. The jurors were told their names, ages, what they liked to eat, what cartoons they watched. Some of the jurors cried silently. Others looked away. Tasha, the mother, was called to testify. She took the stand wearing all black, face pale, hands shaking. She answered questions about her lifestyle, her choices, and her absence from her children's lives. When asked why she left them all with Marceline, she broke down. The courtroom watched in silence, but the emotion didn't sway many. Most people had already formed their opinions. The trial lasted 9 days. Witnesses included neighbors, social workers, and one cousin who had found the bodies. Each person added another piece to the story, a story of warning signs, ignored cries for help, and a family system that had fallen apart long before the killings happened. When closing arguments ended, the jury didn't take long. Less than 4 hours later, they returned to the courtroom with a verdict. Marceline Hayes was found guilty on all counts. The sentencing hearing began just 2 weeks after the verdict. There were no protests, no marches, no appeals for leniency. The public had already made up its mind. The courtroom was full but quiet. Reporters filled the back rows. Family members lined the benches, holding tissue boxes and photo albums. Some brought flowers, others brought nothing but their anger. The judge entered and everyone rose. Marceline Hayes sat still as the clerk read each of the 10 charges out loud. Again. Her face didn't change. Not when her grandchildren's names were repeated. Not when the prosecutor listed the maximum penalties. Not when the judge stared at her for a long, heavy moment before speaking. The room was tense as the sentence was delivered. 10 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. The decision meant that Marceline would never be a free woman again. She would die in prison. Still, she didn't blink. She didn't cry. She didn't look at the family member sitting behind her. Her hands stayed folded in her lap. Her shoulders didn't move. It was as if she already gone. The judge gave her the chance to speak if she had anything to say to the victims' families or to the court. For a moment, it seemed like she might say something. Her lips parted slightly. Then she closed them again. Finally, after a pause, she looked up and answered with words that struck the entire room like a slap. I raised them longer than their mother ever did. Someone near the front row stood up and stormed out. Others whispered in disbelief. Tasha sat frozen, lips trembling, unable to respond. The judge, no apology came. No explanation followed. Marceline was escorted out by 2 guards. She didn't look back. As she left, one of the reporters scribbled in his notepad, "The grandmother who killed her grandkids walked out without a tear, without remorse." The courtroom cleared out slowly. Some family members cried quietly. Others stared straight ahead. A few hugged. For a long time, seated at the defense table where her mother had just been sitting. Outside, reporters delivered live updates. They repeated Marceline's final words on every broadcast. The phrase went viral within hours. News outlets debated whether she was a villain, a victim, or both. Pundits filled the airways. One called her a symbol of collapse in a broken family system. Another called her the coldest woman they'd ever seen. That evening, the prison van carrying Marceline drove off down a quiet back road, away from the courthouse. No escort, no protest, no family waiting, just silence. Marceline stared out the window, not at the trees or the signs or the sky, just out, blank and still. She had taken the lives of 10 children. She had taken her future. She had taken the nation's attention, and now she had nothing left to give. The Hayes house still stands. Its paint is faded now. The yard grown, weeds curling through the cracks in the driveway. The porch light, once left on every night for safety, hasn't flickered in months. No one lives there. No one dares. After Marceline's sentencing, the county placed the proper number hold. No, Tasha didn't want. Other relatives stayed silent. The house, once packed with the sound of footsteps, cartoons, and crying, fell into a strange silence, a kind of stillness that made the whole neighborhood uneasy. A few weeks after the trial, volunteers painted on the side of the community center, just 3 blocks away. 10 smiling faces, one for each child, with colorful backgrounds and soft halos. Underneath were their names, birthdays, and a phrase: they deserved better. People handles. Some brought teddy bears. A few local pastors held a vigil. It was peaceful, but it didn't erase what happened. Back at the house, the window stayed shuttered. Someone had taped cardboard over the glass in the back bedroom. The front door still had police. Mail overflowed from the box of a stop delivery. Utility trucks came and went, turning off water, gas, and electricity. But no one went inside again after the police cleared the scene.
In the shadows where silence screams, the truth lies buried beneath the seams. CPS is out, hunting on the prowl. With the badge of justice, we'll take the vow. They come with badges, dressed in deceit, taking children, claiming it's all for the streets. We rise up, we won't be ignored. The CPS Punisher leads us toward the score.
No buyers have shown interest. Even the isolated. Don't be worried.
All right, I don't know what the hell took place there at the end. We went through that whole damn thing and missed the ending. Does that happen to you guys too? And then Tiff even get kicked out of here. That was weird. I don't know what happened, but anyway, that was really. We weren't planning on playing that whole thing, but I think that was something that needed to be played because we all placed such a pressure, I guess. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Bear with me here. Sorry, guys. There we go. All right. I don't know what the hell's going on. That was just the damn weirdest thing, man. Anyway. What'd you guys think? I mean, that was pretty damn... You know, we all get so wrapped up in the CPS thing. We get so... It's so easy to get lost in this fight, you know? It's so easy to... We argue about terminology, we argue about definitions of words. We talk about, is neglect really child abuse? There's a lot of things that we all talk about, but never do we look at it like we just looked at that. And that really just hit home to me, because really, whose fault was that? And who did actually fail? Who failed in that situation? What do you guys think? What's your thoughts? Who failed that situation? You guys that hung out here. I couldn't believe that happened at the end. I think that it just tapered out. But what are your guys' thoughts? You few that are here. Who would you blame in that? Who would you blame in that video? That whole thing. And should CPS have stepped in and helped these people? What should have been done there? Ah, man, I was in a trance watching that, because all these thoughts were going through my head. Like, what broke down in that system? Or is it the fact that sometimes these horrible things happen and we can't blame anybody, but we live in a society that wants satisfaction of finding a guilty party? Is that what's happening to us as parents? Like, we have a whole division of government workers that are running rogue, thinking that they need to find people guilty of abuse and neglect, even though it's not there? Because there isn't an answer for that video that was just played. Nobody did anything wrong. I mean, short of the results from the grandmother that had lost it. But where was the shortfall? Because we sit here and we say, CPS is too intrusive. What are they doing in our homes? They're taking this away from us. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're doing this. Now CPS went. They investigated. They said no follow-up. I had a no follow-up on my case, but they did follow up, and then they TPR'd me. And I'm pissed about that. I'm so damn angry. It says right in the beginning of the pages, do not have investigation. They did. I got TPR'd because of the podcast that I started. Because I was calling them out on everything. I didn't do anything wrong as a parent. I shouldn't have been TPR'd. The only thing I did wrong was do the podcast. And that wasn't even wrong. It's my duty in the United States to point out corruption and to do these things. There was no abuse or neglect on my daughter. None whatsoever. Same thing in this situation. The only thing that there was a grandma who just couldn't take it, and she spoke out, asked for help. But did CPS fall there? So we can't always blame someone. That's the problem. We live in a society full of cheap thrills, and we got to get some sort of, at the end of the day, some sort of a satisfaction. There's got to be answers. There needs to be a clear understanding. There needs to be, but sometimes it's just not there. And that's what's happening to us as parents. They're forced to make a decision against us, even if there's nothing there. Now, of course, you had the money, you had the bonuses, you had all that other stuff. But in reality, the guilty party at the end of the day, it's just all of us being in such a damn hurry and wanting cheap thrills. We need to have somebody accountable. When really, some situations, nothing more than life has just gone by. And we all have those situations. We have all experienced life. Guys, have a good weekend. Enjoy yourselves. If CPS comes knocking, don't let them in. We'll be back Monday. Don't forget to check out Henry's show tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Bring back Brenda's on tonight. Make sure you guys look at the website, cpsbreakingnews.com. Sign up for the forum. Get in there. Get loud. Start talking. Start getting things done. Because it's time we take this system down. Because what we do know is these son of a bitches are robbing us and our families. And we will hold them accountable. Mark my words. Everybody, have a good weekend. If you need us, call us. We're always here for every one of you. Thank you guys very much for following us, for hanging out with us, for doing all the things that you guys do as viewers, because you're all part of this family, every one of you. So, just remember that. Every one of you are loved, cared for by us. And we all thank you very much for everything that you do to support us and to keep this thing moving. I couldn't be more proud of what I've built and the people that I have that are following us. And you know what, guys? You guys are awesome. This is all yours just as much as it is mine. So have a good weekend, everybody. Thank you. And just think about what we just watched, because I know I really am. Have a good weekend, guys.
It's back called the Ravine. We live in a time where we question our frame. When they ask us what our rights are, they say, yeah, don't need them. What a mistake that is to say. We live in a land we ought to be free. It's not seeming that's how it is shaping to be. The Constitution is supposed to guide us. Our government is taking it away and trying to deprive us. Our kids are taken every day by CPS agents looking for prey. They don't give a damn about the Constitution. We have found the one and only solution. There's a couple of people you should know. Tiff and the Punisher is their show. They want to stop CPS from stealing our kids, fighting beside us and trying to guide us. Tiff has a heart of gold. She blasts these caseworkers when they are wrong. She beats them down with her knowledge, better than the kids who are in college. The Punisher is abolished all the way. He's been here for years, they took his daughter away. He came from the darkness he was in. Now it's time to make parenting great again. Together, they making a commotion, telling all the parents use the Constitution potion. You have rights, did you know? Learn to use them on Tiff and Punisher show. We all admit the times are hard. No little children in the front yard. Tiff and Punisher are fighting so hard. They are waging war, on their side is God. They don't stop if they get in trouble. They are fighting for the children, double trouble. The strength they need, they get from each other. They have each other's back like sister and brother. They are Tiff and the Punisher, saving the families from corruption. They want you to join their movement, no repercussion. You need to learn the thing called the Constitution. Inside that document is our solution. CPS, we have your number. We are coming for you, hear our thunder. Your fate is sealed, have a nice day. You won't break another family. No more trauma for kids, that's like blasphemy. Keep your thoughts to your own ideals. Soon enough you'll be clicking your heels, because you need to go to jail. All of us fathers will be chugging down an L. The mothers will squeeze their young ones tight as CPS workers are locked down for the night. They had a choice they didn't make. Now they spend their days in crates and know it's wrong to kidnap. So from all of us, this is your payback. There's a couple of people you should know. Tiff and the Punisher is their show. They wanna stop CPS from stealing our kids, fighting beside us and trying to guide us. Tiff has a heart of gold. She blasts these caseworkers when they are wrong. She beats them down with her knowledge, better than the kids who do war in college. The Punisher is abolished all the way. He's been here 4 years, they took his daughter away. He came from the darkness he was in. Now it's time to make parenting great again. Together they making a commotion, telling all the parents use the Constitution potion. You have rights, did you know? Learn to use them on Tiff and Punisher show. That's all we need to get on with this fight. The document that most people call you'll barely read in light. Pick the parts that pertain to your case, show them the results and spit in their face. We are Tiff and the Punisher, fighting together, displaying our unity with the birds of a feather. If it's a million, that's great, but one is just the same. We'll bring these kids home and know every name. We will smoke every social worker in court, their heads down with no support. The country knows CPS is doing wrong. If they don't, then play them our song. We are Tiff and the Punisher.
They snatch the light from our homes at night. In shadows make real hearts ignite. We stand as one, no more disguise. Their lies crumble, we'll rise. No more kids for cash. We scream, tearing apart their wicked scheme. Justice burns in our veins so fast. We'll fight till this nightmare's past. The Punisher calls, the battle's near. Echoes of pain, we'll persevere. Educate the masses, lift the blind. Together we'll shatter the chains that bind. No more kids for cash. We scream, tearing apart their wicked scheme. Justice burns in our veins so fast. We'll fight till this nightmare's past. The scars they leave, they'll never fade. But our will's a sword, a justice blade. For every tear, for every plea, we'll fight to set our children free. No more kids for cash. We scream, tearing apart their wicked scheme. Justice burns in our veins so fast. We'll fight till this nightmare's past. Tiff and the Punisher rising to the call, fighting for the children, standing tall. Constitution in hand and we're ready to ball. Rights worth protecting for one and all. From the podcast waves to every home, teaching us the power to stand alone. Legal knowledge keeps us in the zone. Fight against CPS so fiercely shown. Stand up USA, don't let them fall. Fighting for our kids, answering the call. Our devotion's strong, we won't stall. Freedom's light will shine proud for all. In every town across this great land, voices united, ready to withstand. From city streets to the desert sand,
Together we'll take a bold stand. Each parent's heart beats brave and true, following the path paved red, white, blue. Armed with rights we'll push on through, for the innocent lives we must rescue. Stand up, USA, don't let them fall. Fighting for our kids, answering the call. Our devotion's strong, we won't stall. Freedom's light will shine proud for all. Each parent's heart beats brave and true, following the path paved red, white, blue. Armed with rights we'll push on through, for the innocent lives we must rescue. Stand up, USA, don't let them fall. Fighting for our kids, answering the call. Our devotion's strong, we won't stall. Freedom's light will shine proud for all.
When the day begins rolling in through from the night, been awake 4 damn days, still ain't nothing right. As I look at my wife so peaceful, I know it's just a matter of time when she wakes again and I hear her lose her mind. It's hard enough having the kids taken away, for the lies they spread have made it this way. I know you won't hear the truth, and that is not your fault. So I've been writing these songs to put in this vault. Every day without you is so friggin' long. Looking at the calendar, I wonder where has the time G1. All I do is bury my head in books, to one day get back my kid they took. I never imagined this would be my life. We loved you so much, we never let you go. But when they came for you, I didn't know what to do. Waving from the back window is what I saw. My little girl in caseworker taking off. It wasn't fair, no one cared. That's what happened the day I lost. Why did this have to be us? There was nothing wrong, in God we trust. I challenge you, God, why is it me? He answers back, who would you rather it be? I don't know quite how to answer. Is it a challenge or is it an answer? Regardless of the choice, I still miss that voice that used to say, Daddy, I love you, good night. God, please do me a solid. You have all the worldly knowledge. Does she remember my name? Is she in pain? Will I ever see her again? I'm still asking the question every day, just waiting for him to shout out and say, but I don't hear a damn thing. I see an empty swing, and back in the books is where I'll be. Every day with there without you is so friggin' long. Looking at the calendar, I wonder where has the time G1. All I do is bury my head in books, to one day get back my kid they took. My kid they took. Every day without you is so friggin' long. Looking at the calendar, I wonder where has the time G1. All I do imagined this would be my life. We loved you so much, we never let you go. But when they came for you, I didn't know what to do. Waving from the back window is what I saw. My little girl and caseworker.
They take away the fathers, leaving just a mom and cubs. They know that with that out the way, the better things will go. Breaking apart the family, destroying the American way. Our legacy is built upon our families of yesterday. Fuck CPS, fuck what they doing. Fuck CPS, they need to be ruined. It's all about the division of family services. You hear that the division, that's what they about. They prey upon the family, the ones that the dad's been kicked out. We can't stand for this abomination. This is the song that needs to play across our once great nation, making us aware of the problem. Stealing our kids, it's not mama drama. Stand up for those who are lost due to them. We need to fight for the family, making America great again. CPS comes along with the mission to protect. The only thing they are doing is cashing in those checks, paid for by the souls of the children, diagnosed by a caseworker who is still a baby herself. They take away the fathers, leaving just the mom and cubs. They know that with that out the way, the better things will go. Breaking apart the family, destroying the American way. Our legacy is built upon our families of yesterday. Fuck CPS, fuck what they doing. Fuck CPS, they need to be ruined. It's all about the division of family services. You hear that the division, that's what they about. They prey upon the family, the ones that the dad's been kicked out. We can't stand for this abomination. This is the song that needs to play across our once great nation, making us aware of the problem. Stealing our kids, it's not mama drama. Stand up for those who are lost due to them. We need to fight for the family, making America great again.
I'm so tired of living scared. I have to do something for me. I can't take the pressure, but I have to. No one will live my life for me. I need to know I'm better than this, that no one person who wronged me broke me. I was once a strong man, taking on everything in my path. When you took my daughter, you broke all I had. With that one action, you got my reaction. I threw my hands in the air, you quit. I try to pull myself together every day. I can't begin to rebuild because I'm so lost. I don't know how to get back the feeling, the one they stole that day. I was viewed as the protector, the strong and wise man to take control. I was put on a pedestal every day. When they took my daughter, they took all that away. I was the rock for my family. I made their dreams into reality. It was always up to me. Now my dreams are nightmares and I can't wake up. My wife laughs at me in silence. In front of her, I went from a man to nothing. She feels bad for me and hates who I become. I am so weak right now, she won't leave. In an epitome to her, no one she wants to be with, I don't blame her. Why won't she run away? That's what I'm waiting for, to come home to an empty house with an open door. I am waiting for this. I am not what she thought I was. I couldn't stop this from happening. I couldn't keep my family safe. All I could do is watch it go away. I don't wait for tomorrow. I don't know what to do. I hurt so much inside. I'm sorry I didn't stand up that day. There's nothing worse than watching the ones who love you lose faith. They start to distance from you and then they go. They don't wanna be with one who is weak. They don't wanna be with anyone who caused their daughter to be gone. So I beg to you, God, please lift me up. Make me the man I need to be. I need my life to be saved. Please let's get started. I have fight inside my body that no one has seen. got blood boiling in my veins to give me. I need to take back the hearts of all of those I've disappointed. Please God help me rewrite this story. I need your help, I need to be a man. Make me what I used to be, the one I see I can't stand. If I can reach to the sky and get a victory, all that'll be is me all alone. So please Lord, give me the power, the strength I need to be what I need to be, to win it all back. Giant steps of confidence, a smile that shows true happiness. God, it has to be me or you. Please help me.
In the shadows where silence screams, the truth lies buried beneath the seams. CPS is Please list as I tell you a story. I'm sorry if it seems a bit boring, but these are stories of fathers whose lives are being destroyed way too early. It all started when I opened my mouth, complain about a stupid mistake. I knew better than to have more to say. I did it anyway. I'm a father and a husband. I'm no longer trusted. They have taken away the things I hold dear, making me realize my biggest fear. The foundation, it has crumbled. Now there is tears where there was muscles. So now I waste away, missing my daughter as she plays. I am guilty of nothing. When I was a dad, I was something. These people passing judgment have no right to say I'm a bad father, get away. This place no longer for you to stay. I don't wanna see you here, never again will I hear. Hey daddy, come play with me. I need you to make some tea. I shed a tear looking at her smile I won't see for a while. Now as days pass by, the tears have dried from my eyes. All that's left is the memories of that beautiful smile. So thank you for passing judgment. You people don't know nothing. To that little girl I was something, and you took it all away. So thank you for passing judgment. You people don't know nothing. To that little girl I was something, and you took it all away. Now my baby is grown up. Those people messed things up. I lost life's miracles there behind, with just a picture to remind me. Guilty of nothing. When I was a dad, I was something. These people passing judgment and have no right to say I'm a bad father, get away. This place no longer for you to stay. I don't want to see you here, never again will I hear. Hey daddy, come play with me. I need you to make some tea. I shed a tear looking at her smile I won't see for a while. Now as days pass by, the tears have dried from my eyes. All that's left is the memories of that beautiful smile. So thank you for passing judgment. You people don't know nothing. To that little girl I was something, and you took it all away. So thank you for passing judgment. You people don't know nothing. To that little girl I was something, and you took it all away. Now my baby is grown up. Those people messed things up. I lost my
The stories of our families once told by the ones on front of the fire growing old, sharing light on the greatness they created. Everyone listening to every word, no hesitation. The pride you learned of the name you had, it taught you that you were something, never feel bad. You knew the trials and tribulations it took to make you. Your aunt, your uncle, you always knew who was who. Who was who. CPS, when they take the kids away, erase the heritage of the children they have gotten pay. These children don't know where they begin. They sure know the outcome, the end. CPS, you're destroying the family. You think you're making things better. These kids don't know who they are. They will never. In a blink of an eye, you eliminate what's theirs to cherish. There is no imminent danger great enough to annihilate the name of a family and those that it consummate. How dare you take away such an honor for you to get a bonus and arise so much drama. Our kids, their lives erased away. Never will they know who paved the way. They are left empty to never hear the story, who their grandparent were, the sad times and the glory. CPS, walk away. CPS, not today. Please, we beg you, leave the kids alone. God bless you. How do you think you are helping things out? You're causing more pain and agony without a doubt. Why do you want to be the eraser of a family past given by the Creator? CPS, why do you play the role of God while so many families are truly breaking the law, inflicting harm throughout the night? The children are scared to turn out their lights. So go away, don't ever come back. Go away, I want my parents, that's that. I don't belong in a stranger's bed, thinking all night, memories in my head of the only love I once had. It was from my mom and dad. Now I lay alone, listening to strangers fight, never hearing the words I love you, good night. So good job, CPS, you really helped me. Now I'm scared, I'm alone, I don't know who I am. I've been cast away. If I'm lost, no one knows. There is no family to find me. CPS took that away, it's all behind me. When I go to bed every night, I close my eye tight. And through the tears I see my mom and dad, wishing they were here. I am so sad. You ruined my life, who gave you that right? My family loved me, they all said goodnight. Now I'm truly alone, nothing to be happy about, no place to call home. All I know is the time of day. CPS, just go away.
In 1776, brave men put up a fight, mowing down redcoats, they wanted freedom. They had to fight, and now we take the sacrifice in vain. They loaded their muskets, fired them one by one. That's why we have the freedom to own a gun, but we are blowing it. These freedoms were created by those before us. They were to be something that stays. But now things are so corrupted, they're taking our rights away. Hey, Uncle Sam, where did you go? I called Washington today, but nobody's home. We all want to stand for our freedom, but nobody wants to do it today. Can't you see time is a waste and the Constitution we love is fading? Make no tread on the reality, or the USA will be the next casualty. We are here for freedom, those we will protect. Unite for the values we cherish, but watch everything perish. Our men have fought for our freedoms, many women have too. Their blood spilled upon the ground. With the news, many frown. They paid a price that many won't pay. Now we are letting the cause fade away. The graves are being neglected by the actions of so many deceptive. The freedoms they fought for in every world war, conflict or mission. So many stayed behind signing petitions, while those away dying were there to protect them. It's time to wake up in the USA. We are all slipping away into the darkness we once ran from. It's getting worse every day. Now they are taking our children more and more every day. No soldier ever fought for taking our children away. This is not why they bled for our freedom. They didn't die for some cheap pay. We all need to come together, fight this corruption, and it starts today. We need to wake up America, go back to parades, remember true family values, laugh again as children play. These are the things we fought for, 200 years strong, but now we're losing all of this. Don't tread on me does exist. So rise up and be strong. We don't have to go along. We need to push back now, like our forefathers did. It's time to bring back the way it was, when families lived together, all that mattered was love. It's not always easy to take back what they have grabbed. With all of us together we can do it, two loving children and mom and dad. This is our country, it's called USA. So many have fallen, say don't tread on me today. It's time to wake up in the USA. We are all slipping away into the darkness we once ran from. We once ran from. It's getting worse every day. Now they are country, it's called USA.
When the day begins rolling in through from the night, been awake 4 damn days, still ain't nothing right. As I look at my wife so peaceful, I know it's just a matter of time when she wakes again and I hear her lose her mind. It's hard enough having the kids taken away. For the lies they spread have made it this way. I know you won't hear the truth, and that is not your fault. So I've been writing these songs to put in this vault. Every day without you is so friggin' long. Looking at the calendar, I wonder where has the time G1? All I do is bury my head in books, to one day get back my kid they took. I never imagined this would be my life. We loved you so much, we never let you go. But when they came for you, I didn't know what to do. Waving from the back window is what I saw. My little girl in caseworker taking off. It wasn't fair, no one cared. That's what happened the day.
Under golden skies so wide,
We stand tall, no fear to hide. Whispers of the windswept plains. Hold your ground, break these chains. See the children lost at sea. Dreams of freedom, wild and free. Shadows fall, but we stay bright. Hearts of truth with purest light. Don't tread on me, hear the call. Rise above, we'll never fall. And the tears lift the veil. In this fight we shall prevail. Vibes sings tales untold of a future brave and bold. Steel guitar, the warriors cry. With our love, we touch the sky. Silent prayers and tender hearts, healing where the pain departs. Hand in hand we write our fate. Sing these words, it's not too late. Left sings tales untold of a future brave and bold. Steel guitar, the warriors cry. With our love chaos tonight. Voices roaring, we won't go down without a fight. Broken laws and shattered dreams we see. CPS no longer will decide what's meant to be. Don't tread on us, we scream into the void. Parents torn apart, families destroyed. We march forward, hearts ablaze with pride. Injustice crushed as we gather side by side. Abolish the chains and break the system down. No more kids for cash in this twisted town. Make parenting great with freedom as our goal. Here Tiff and the Punisher, we're reclaiming control. Constitution rules, we hold it tight. No more tears or endless nights.
parenting great, with freedom as our goal. Here Tiff and the Punisher, we're reclaiming control. We stand our ground in the chaos tonight. Voices roaring, we won't go down without a fight. Broken laws and shattered dreams we see. CPS no longer will decide what's meant to be. Don't tread on us, we scream into the void. Parents torn apart, families destroyed. We march forward, hearts ablaze with pride. Injustice crushed as we gather side by side. Abolish the chains and break the system down. No more kids for cash in this twisted town. Make parenting great, with freedom as our goal. Here Tiff and the Punisher, we're reclaiming control. Constitution rules, we hold it tight. No more tears or endless nights. Stealing kids is not their right. We won't back down, we stand and fight. Battle scars from a war we never chose. Families torn, but our numbers grow. CPS must go, the world will know. Our power surges, watch the rebels show. Abolish the chains and break the system down. No more kids for cash in this twisted town. Make parenting great, with freedom as our goal. Here Tiff and the Punisher, we're reclaiming control. We're in control. Battle scars from a war we never chose. Families torn, but our numbers grow. CPS must go, the world will know. Our power surges, watch the rebels show. Abolish the chains and break the system down. No more kids for cash in this twisted town. Make parenting great, with freedom as our goal. Here Tiff and the Punisher, we're reclaiming control. We're reclaiming control. We're in control.
Tiff and the Punisher rising to the call. Fighting for the children, standing tall. Constitution in hand and we're ready to ball. Rights worth protecting for one and all. From the podcast waves to every home, teaching us the power to stand alone. Legal knowledge keeps us in the zone. Fight against CPS so fiercely shown. Stand up USA, don't let them fall. Fighting for our kids, answering the call. Our devotion's strong, we won't stall. Freedom's light will shine proud for all. In every town across this great land, voices united, ready to withstand. From city streets to the desert sand, Together we'll take a bold stand. Each parent's heart beats brave and true, following the path paved red, white, blue. Armed with rights we'll push on through, for the innocent lives we must rescue. Stand up, USA, don't let them fall. Fighting for our kids, answering the call. Our devotion's strong, we won't stall. Freedom's light will shine proud for all. Each parent's heart beats brave and true, following the path paved red, white, blue. Armed with rights we'll push on through, for the innocent lives we must rescue. Stand up, USA, don't let them fall. Fighting for our kids, answering the call. Our devotion's strong, we won't stall. Freedom's light will shine proud for all.
When I began this battle, my soul was so damn fragile. I was looking at life through a fog. I lost my baby girl and they killed my dog. I was laying on the bottom feeling sad, thinking about doing bad things, raging fucking mad. I couldn't understand why I was chosen. Then it led to my raging explosion. I am the one who can make this better. It's my job to make things right. I need to pick myself up. It's time for my biggest fight. Wrap your kids in the Bible. Wrap your kids in the flag. CPS is from the devil. Y'all know that it's a fact. I'm a father that went to jail. I cherish my daughter. It was nothing when they come for her and me. There should have been a slaughter. Stand with us. Make parenting great again. Abolish CPS. Ambush with the black SUVs. They come armed, they came for me, and they came for her. Stand with us, make parenting great again, abolish CPS. They took her from me, she's across the state. Gone for a year now, taken away. All these people who have written me off, I'm here to show my face and tell you you're wrong. I never was as good as you, and for the record we know that's not true. I'm not trying for a comparison. How dare you, you're embarrassing. I don't wanna be as good as anyone else. I fight this battle, I fight for myself. I am the one who can make this better. It's my job to make things right. I need to pick myself up. It's time for my biggest fight. I don't care about your judgment, I'm glad you gave us this test. But when your life is over, will your heart sleep quietly in your chest? I've got more life to live. As a matter of fact, it's just beginning. I've been given a challenge and my daughter is waiting. It's a fight I can't walk away from, a new life we are creating. So why you sit there mouth full of hating? Be sure my mind is planning on invading. I've got a war to fight and I'm on mom. I won't give up, I need to win, this is bigger than you. I don't expect you to understand, I am the one who can start over. It's my job to make things right. I need to pick myself up. It's time for the biggest fight. I won't be left behind, this is the time I call it mine. Step out of the way unless you wanna play Trump, stand with us. Make parenting great again, abolish CPS. There is no time for bickering, the clocks are flickering. Pick up your weapon and join me, if not go back to ignoring me. I will be on top, pistol going pop, pop. Money falling from my pockets, you'll still be lying on dockets, so fuck you. In the heartland and the cities, from coast to rolling plains, kids are crying out for justice, trapped in foster care chains. Promises were broken and dreams turned into dust, in a system built on power where no one we can trust. Let's burn bridges of deception, light a fire for what's right, tear down walls of silence, bring the truth into the light. For the children who are voiceless, for the hearts that feel alone, we'll stand and fight together till every child finds a home. They say it's for their safety, they say it's for their good, but behind those empty phrases, we see them misunderstood. Families torn asunder by a system cold and blind. It's time to raise our voices and leave no child behind. Let's burn bridges of deception, light a fire for what's right, tear down walls of silence, bring the truth into the light. For the children who are voiceless, for the hearts that feel alone, we'll stand and fight together till every child finds a home. So let's hold them to their promises, let's call out every lie. For the sake of all our children, we won't back down or comply. From Georgia to the Rockies, from the bayou to the coast, we'll burn the bridges that divide us and fight for what matters most. Let's burn bridges of deception, light a fire for what's right, tear down walls of silence, bring the truth into the light. For the children who are voiceless, for the hearts that feel alone, we'll stand and fight together till every child finds a home. So let's hold them to their promises, let's call out every lie. Sure, here's a country themed song titled Burn Bridges, that reflects the systematic failures in the foster care system nationwide. Complimenting your song, Georgia's Hidden Scarlet. Let's let's hold them to their promises, let's call out every lie.
A father's tears fall like the rain, a mother's cries locked in pain. No gavel should steal what love has made. This war at home needs a barricade. We fight for hearts we won't forsake. No more lives for the system to break. Stand as one, make parenting great. Together we'll rewrite fate. The family fire keeps us alive, but cold hands threaten what should thrive. Shadows creep where justice should glow.
Stop the greed and close the door. No more games, no keeping score. Chains of love should not be pried. No more tears where victims reside. Stop the greed and close the door. No more games, no keeping score. Chains of love should not be pried. No more tears where victims reside.
Rattlesnake flags are flying high underneath the starry sky. Nation's heart beat loud and free. Don't tread on me, don't tread on me. Abolish things that chain us down. Families torn can't stick around. Freedom's call we won't ignore, fighting strong forevermore. We stand our ground, we won't give in to injustices soaked in sin. Raise your voice for liberty, don't tread on me, don't tread on me. Electric roar and passion's cry, limps and drums, they pierce the sky. In our hearts, brave and bold, freedom's fire will uphold. Children's laughter, lost in fear. Parents' cries, you'll never hear. We are fighting for their tears, uniting hearts throughout the years. We stand our ground, we won't give in to injustices soaked in sin. Raise your voice for liberty, don't tread on me, don't tread on me.
Corrupt workers better watch their lying eyes. CPS victims hunting down the truth. Justice in their hearts, shouting from the roof. Kidnappers, beware, we're on your trail. With a banjo tune, we will tell the tale. The kids are our property, not for your greed. No cash for kids, justice we need. Families torn apart, we'll make a stand. Together we'll reclaim and free this land. Podcast whispers through the night so loud. Voices of the people breaking every shroud, exposing every trick, every wicked scheme. For our children's sake we will redeem. Corruption like a shadow, they'll be chased. Every wrongful handprint will be erased. Our banners fly high, vengeance calls through every valley, mountain and halls. Vinny's words like thunder shake the ground. United we will fight till justice is found. No more tears, no more broken dreams. In the light together our love redeems. The storm is coming, feel the thunder crash. We're tired of the silence, time to make a splash. Battle flag is waving high above the fray. The fight begins right here today. Raise the flag, we won't back down. With hearts of fire, we'll take this town. United voices, loud and clear. The Punisher's call, you've gotta hear. Marching through the chaos with unyielding pride. Gunners by my shoulder with a rising tide. The world can try to break us, but we'll never fall. Parents standing tall, we've answered the call. Raise the flag, we won't back down. With hearts of fire, we'll take this town. United voices, loud and clear. The Punisher's call, you've gotta hear. Fight for what's right, never lose.
Raise the flag, we won't